Good morning. You guys are right. Hospitals, just like Spectrum Health, they are overwhelmed right now by COVID-19. But the light at the end of the tunnel for these hospital workers and their patients, it could be the Moderna vaccine. If it gets FDA approval, we could see it in hospitals just like this before the new year. What do we know about Moderna? How was this vaccine created?
It was the first RNA vaccine to enter clinical trials for the COVID-19 pandemic in the United States.
Speaking with Dr. Sam Sun, director at the Endemic Foundation and a resident physician at Texas Medical Center. He touts the promising data behind Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine, a vaccine that is now in phase 3 of trials and is proven to be more than 94% effective in preventing coronavirus. Can we talk about the science behind Moderna?
Both the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, they send kind of a blueprint, you could say, into cells. And that blueprint is not part of the virus. That blueprint encodes part of the virus. So once that blueprint gets into cells, then the cells can look at that blueprint. They make copies of just the protein that the virus uses to infect human cells. And by encoding that protein, your body starts to make it. We mount an immune response against that. And every time we see that spike protein, we mount an immune response against it.
Moderna and Pfizer vaccines are very similar in that they both use these blueprints or messenger RNA to make proteins.
You're not going to wind up in the hospital just because you got 2 shots of this vaccine. And they also reported that the vaccine prevents severe COVID-19.
The Moderna vaccine is also easier to store and transport. This will be important for smaller rural communities. If the FDA does approve the Moderna vaccine, when do you think we'll be able to see it in hospitals and eventually the general public?
Both Moderna and Pfizer have said that they'll produce between 20 and 50 million doses of their vaccine candidates by the end of this year. So they're anticipating a rollout, at least to frontline workers and healthcare workers in December, so before the end of the year.
Following the rollout to healthcare workers will be a rollout to those at high risk, and eventually a rollout to the general public. We can potentially see general public access to the Moderna vaccine in early spring. What are your thoughts on that, to the person who says they're not putting this vaccine that was rushed through the testing process into their bodies?
The thing I would say about that is that the vaccine is extremely safe. It's over 1,000 times safer than getting COVID-19 naturally. You can think of all these conspiracy theories about whether the first participants are going to be guinea pigs or whatnot, but the trials have been done. They involve tens of thousands of people. To me, the data is already there, and I'll be one of the first people lined up to get the shots.
This is really encouraging news to hear because at Spectrum Health today, for example, they have over 300 COVID-19 patients and their testing rate today is 15%. Live in Grand Rapids, Sarah Grimmer for Fox 17 News.